This Guy Eagle again with Renewable Wisdom Trails Library and cosmology as well. Again, our research is in history has been about finding the natural world, what wisdom is renewable from the natural world into our current lifestyles. And I don't like using the word lifestyle too much because it sounds cultish. And we're not about anything like that. That's a whole different game. We're about reuniting with the natural world and living in harmony. Anyway, we're into part 3 of our Crossing Over kind of series, and we've been talking about the gathering of our stuff, the signal point of starting that process of our ending the fire of our life and moving on to whatever's next. Now, we talk about it in the fact that the spirit just changes form, and there's a process to do that. We have a nice bird singing to us in the background, so we hope we get that on the video because they want to be known that they're part of this too. Lynn's helping us today too. Anyway, gathering. The first stage is usually the signals that come and the person starts to go through this grief process of their previous identity, their grief process of being agile, their grief process of being able to control their bowels and when they go to the bathroom, when they don't. The grief process of letting go of the fact that maybe they can't dress themselves anymore. There can be many different ways humans go through this process of losing their old identity and transitioning into a new one. Sometimes they don't realize, though, that the new identity is going to be in a new body. It's not going to be in this particular body. They're on their way out. And they have to address that intimacy with friends, with family, with their location, their environment. Now, some of you that live in a city, that may not seem like a really big deal. And I really can't speak to that. I don't know a lot about that. I do know what it's like in the country, though, because you have an intimacy with watching a tree grow through the seasons or a plant growing through the seasons. You have a intimacy with the way the land is being shaped by rain and wind. You have an intimacy with the birds, what you wake up to and watch in the mornings. And so you want to really take that in honoring and appreciation. And that's an intimate gesture that can help the process. Another thing you have to do is you have to start cleaning stuff out. And I talked about this in the previous video. Some of the experiences I've had, I remember one not too long ago where this fella was crossing over and he had an engineering degree and a whole tool shed. I think his parents were in the hardware business, so he really had a nice inventory of stuff. His wife, on the other hand, was kind of more aware of different things like we're talking about, but he wanted to be aware and he trusted me to help him when it was time, but he didn't trust making the declaration out loud because of the rejection of his family, his kids in particular. And so he held on, and it was a cancerous kind of thing because he had cancer. And it got worse and worse and worse. And it finally found an opening when he was willing to admit that he was ready to go, that he couldn't do anything more. He had to admit to his kids that he had to start taking care of some things. And that was a signal point for him. The denial stopped, and he was ready to start preparing. And that's when we started to have our daily talks that would move into the other process. And I can't go too much farther into that without breaking any kind of confidentiality. And I don't have permission to share that stuff. But for now, just know that that signal point starts somewhere. And then it kind of like clicks into another level of awareness. And that what happened in that particular case. So this is probably the end of part 3. We're going to go into part 4 soon. So as always, maybe something to it. Go check it out.